After Ray and his distributor left, we just stood around for a few minutes trying to process what he had told us. We were at a deserted mountain lodge over a mile away from civilization with no means of communication with the outside world. And the only other person besides the 6 of us was someone we hadn't even seen and were strictly instructed not to interact with. I glanced at the dark RV parked nearby, feeling a shudder of dread I couldn't explain. Something about it gave me the creeps. I took my eyes off the RV and turned in a circle, taking in the vista around the lodge. The jagged mountain peaks seemed to encircle us, their slopes white with snow, spotted with clusters of fir trees. I could see the rail of the ski lift descending the slopes to the east. Across from the front of the lodge, on the other side of the driveway, was an empty parking lot for tourists' vehicles. Not far from that was a large outbuilding that looked like a combination garage shed. I was again struck by the grandeur and beauty of the world around us, but also struck by the feelings of isolation and desolation it imposed upon us. I felt a stirring of fear and foreboding in my stomach. "Well," Timothy said at last, breaking the silence. "Guess we better head inside before we freeze to death." We made our way to the front entrance, carrying our bags. Timothy tried the door and it was unlocked. He opened it and we stepped inside. We were in the main lobby. It was pleasantly warm after the chilly mountain air outside. We looked around, muttering in awe. "Man, this place is huge," Tyrese announced, and he was right. The lobby was vast, seeming to stretch out before us like a football field. On the other side of the room was a sitting area with a number of comfortable-looking sofas and armchairs. Against the far wall was a giant rock-walled fireplace, unlit, with a bearskin rug lying in front of it. To our left was the deserted registration desk with a door behind it identified by a brass sign on it as administration. I assumed it led to the manager's office. The decor of the lodge was rustic, vaguely Western. The walls were plain cedar logs. A number of animals, moose, deer, bull, etc., were mounted on the walls. A pair of ox skulls were on either side of the fireplace. "This ain't a lodge, this is a hotel," Tyrese exclaimed, and his voice echoed in the empty expanse of the lobby. Hearing it made me shiver, reminding me that we were the only ones here. I looked around, starting to feel spooked in the deserted lobby. I think I was half expecting Jack Nicholson to jump out from behind a column brandishing a fire axe at us. I guess I wasn't the only one thinking of The Shining because I heard Mad mutter in response to Tyrese's statement. "Yeah, the Overlook Hotel." "So we've got this whole place to ourselves for the next 6 weeks?" Seth asked to no one in particular, looking amazed. "I guess so," Marie murmured. Timothy was looking at his copy of the map. "Let's check this place out. According to the map, there's a lounge to the right of the lobby, and the entrance is on the other end near the elevators." We crossed to the other side of the lobby. As Timothy had said, there were 2 elevators with a staircase to the left of them and the door to the lounge on the right, accessible through a pair of Batwing-style doors. We pushed through them into the lounge. It was styled like a modernized version of an Old West saloon. There was a long bar across from us with the shelves above it all fully stocked with a wide array of liquors. A number of stools stood before it. There were several tables with the chairs turned upside down on top of them, and against the far wall stood a piano. There was also a jukebox, a pool table, and a dartboard on one wall. There was a large, clear plastic bag sitting on the polished surface of the otherwise bare bar. Leaning against it was a folded note. We approached it. When we got close enough, we saw what the bag contained and stopped, murmuring in shock. "Is that what I think it is?" Seth asked. Tyrese grinned. "Heck yeah, dog." He went to the bag and pulled it open, inhaling the scent. The bag contained a large amount of marijuana. Seth picked up the folded note and opened it. Inside was a brief message. "Enjoy, Ray. P.S. Help yourself to the bar." Timothy and I exchanged a surprised look. He shrugged and smiled. "I guess that's Hollywood for you," he said. "Dude, what are we waiting for? Let's get wasted," Tyrese said with a cackle. "Yeah," Seth seconded. "I think I'm going to like this place," Mad said, grinning. wanted to protest, but I didn't know what to say. According to the shooting schedule we'd been given, we weren't set to begin filming until the following evening, so we had tonight and tomorrow to ourselves. So why not go wild for one night? We were 6 young, inexperienced actors alone by ourselves in the middle of nowhere, and Ray himself had left these goodies here for us and told us we could party when we weren't busy filming. Seth fired up the jukebox and selected a Maroon 5 song. Tyrese was already rolling some joints while Mad was behind the bar pulling down some glasses. Soon, we were all having a pretty good time, having some drinks and passing around a joint, which only Marie politely declined. I felt my earlier sense of worry and uneasiness melt away as the alcohol and weed worked its wonders and started to actually enjoy myself a little. I flirted a little with Timothy, although I made it clear to him that while I thought he was cute and seemed like a nice guy, I wasn't interested in a relationship just now and wanted to maintain a professional relationship while we were working on the film. Although after we were finished, we could take it from there. He smiled and nodded in understanding. We sat at the bar talking for a while, learning about each other. Timothy, who told me I could just call him Tim, said he was from a pretty rough lower-class neighborhood in Chicago and his unemployed, alcoholic father had a pretty mean temper and could get violent when he was drunk. His mother had left when he was 12, having taken as much abuse as she could tolerate from the man she had married, but not thinking or caring enough about her only child to take him with her. After that, Tim had become the sole focus of his father's uncontrollable rage and whiskey-fueled outbursts. That had come to an end when Tim turned 16 and began taking self-defense classes. The next time his father had come after him, he had laid the old man out. After that, he had never touched him again. 2 years later, his father had died from liver failure, and after finishing high school, Tim had decided there was nothing holding him there, so he decided to come out to Los Angeles to start life anew. Like me, he hadn't had much luck landing acting gigs until his agent had called about a possible role in the film. I told him about my own less-than-perfect childhood and home life. Seth and Marie seemed to hit it off dancing together in the middle of the lounge, and Tyrese and Mad started openly making out before retiring upstairs to one of their rooms for privacy. It was pretty funny in a way because in the screenplay, Marie's fictional counterpart actually ends up with Tyrese, and Seth keeps trying successfully to hit on Mad, who keeps shooting him down. I realized I was actually having fun being up here with my new friends, and I felt a sense of genuine excitement for the first time at the adventure that lay before us, making our first film together by ourselves without a director or a crew to deal with, and with a $100,000 paycheck waiting for each of us when it's over. I started to think that maybe everything was going to turn out okay after all. Maybe everything was going to be all right. I was wrong. Horribly wrong.